Hi guys! Welcome all those who have just watched this short. This is a longer video than I ever said I was gonna do. Capdemic House by Chuck Tingle. The same author as Bury Your Gaze. This is the first introduction of his, and it made me fall off completely in his writing style. So, Capdemic, the first religious horror book that literally understood the true horror of organized religion for someone who that same religion will target. Okay, queer people. And disabled people shockingly too. So, let's talk about why this is one of my favorite pieces of religious horror books that I've read. There might be more, but as of right now, this is my personal favorite religious horror book. And I'll talk about the psychology behind it, because I'm a practical behavioralist, so I can talk a little bit about the psychology behind it. It's cool. Get me to talk to you about it. So let's start talking about our female lead and why our female lead is a great character for a religious horror story. So we follow Rose Darling, who is very much someone on the spectrum, which is like always a joy to read someone on the spectrum who is presented as someone on the spectrum who is a woman, first and foremost, because men are mostly depicted as people on the autism spectrum, but is someone who is highly skilled in unique aspects, and their autism has a purpose in the plot. Oh my gosh, her autism has a purpose in the plot, and I absolutely adore it. And I know people with autism, it can exist without having a reason to exist, but the fact that what people would quote unquote see a disability is used as her superpower, which I absolutely adore. Which is one of the things I love about Shane Tennis. He uses these kind of like, oh, this is just the thing about the McCord, and then uses them later on in the plot. So, Rose Darling is a very religious young woman in the, why can't I pronounce the name? Say the religion. Evangelical, which I have issues with. Every religion has issues with. That is super religious, and because of her autism, she even memorize a ton of the religious texts, which is like such an autistic trait to do, and also can read Latin. Like, that's so badass! That's so cool about her. That is so cool. And I hate her. Not in a bad way. I hate the fact that when she does things, you see her like jump. She's doing some daring kind of dangerous things because she wants to be a part of the group. But she also has this feeling that she feels bad for them for not being a part of her religion, because if they're not part of her religion, they're condemned to hell. And that's a lot of what fundamentalists believe. And those who she's not a fundamentalist, which is the weirdest thing, but it makes so much sense. Because she's autistic, we see the world in black and white. So we are being told that if you don't follow the beliefs or do things in the way that our churches or organizations tell us, you're going to hell. And there's like no if or buts. You're just going to hell. And that's a weird thing to say, and a weird thing to explain. And there's another religiously traumatizing book, and that will literally say if this religiously trauma will affect you, blah blah blah. But you start off with the characters literally causing the end of the world, and nothing the characters do, nothing the church does, makes me feel that there should be reason for people to follow the religion unless they are not wanting to be in a hierarchy. And that's kind of the problem with the way you're displaying churches or cults. Churches and cults are kind of the phenomenon. A logical reasons they work is because they give a people a place of belonging. Until you put that whole placement of belonging, then you could put the whole hierarchy thing. But there is no sense in the other book that there's a sense of belonging. It's the people were giving out food, and some of the food is poisonous. And so that would even be more scary for the survivalists, because they don't trust no one to trust food and stuff like that. Like, that would be interesting and realistic. And, like, they could say, like, oh, we're not killing them, we're saving them from their sins. That's literal things that religious people would say. Like Mother Teresa once said, that the reason people suffer, if people suffer, that's just a sign of God's love. You're talking about people like that. And Camp Dionysus does that perfectly. It does, like, people are really hurting because they're doing something wrong. They're not accepting the love of God. And that's things that I was literally taught. I'm not an evangelical. I am a Roman Catholic, and I've said this multiple times when other people tried to, like, change my religion, and which is weird now because I'm a neurotic witch. I believe in, like, the Norse gods and the great gods, mostly because, hey, they're flawed, and I can, like, pretend that I'm having a best friend, and I'm doing stuff for my best friend, and they kind of support me, and they're autistic people with hyperfocus, like, one specific hyperfixation that I want to learn from. Like, it's kind of like parallel play for me. But I grew up Roman Catholic, and when people wanted to change my religion, I would say, like, the Roman Catholics starved, raped, and brutally murdered native people in my country to force me to become Catholic. Like, I don't want to go. I have too much trauma in my religion, this religion, so I'm sticking to it. After so many years of having to say that, I recognize, like, you know what, it's kind of messed up that I'm still in a religion that actually did that to my ancestors. So I kind of gave up the Catholic. Also for other reasons. But that's my biggest aspect of this book that I absolutely adore. That it gets the whole sense, that whole mindset of what leads people to create conversion camps. We can also talk about how it took so long for therapists to recognize that being gay wasn't a mental disorder and stuff. Yeah, there's that too, but being the fact that this doesn't discuss that actual aspect is kind of incredible, which is kind of the most hilarious thing. But that's further it. Rose Darling is a really straight-laced person. Straight-laced woman. You don't expect her to be queer. And as you read in, you slowly, like, recognize, oh, she's a lesbian. She's attracted to women. And then horrible things start happening. And she's like, what's going on? And she gets into attacks by this terrifying creature that she can recognize because one of her hyperfocus is religious texts. And so she recognizes the demon that's following her. And then she finds out that she went to the camp herself and that she has missing parts of her memory. And she meets a counselor who also, I can recognize this too. So Rose, by this point, has given up her religion, and the counselor is still attached to religion because it's a very much a ritual thing. And they find a way to take away the demons from each other because the way they convert gay people isn't by therapy or speech or any of that aspect. It's by forcing them to be attached to a demon. And that demon, every time they have impure thoughts, they attack them or attack the loved one. And so that's where her Latin skills come into play, and that's such a great aspect of it. It's such a great story. And I give a lot of it away, but it's mostly because every single part of it, and there's a lot that I haven't talked about, I would highly recommend you read. I'm not giving you how she found out it was a demon, how she met the counselor, how she defeats the demon, because all of that is really good stuff. It's highly well written, it's highly entertaining, it's visual, it is very, very graphic. It's one of the things I absolutely adore of this author, but yeah, I highly recommend it. I'll give it a 5 out of 5. If you want a religious horror story with a happy ending to it, and resistance, and moving past trauma, I highly recommend Camp Demicus. It is so good. Funny joke, I actually picked up this book because I thought it was Camp the God of Wine. I thought it was Camp Dionysus. I'm like, cool, it's a camp with the God of Wine and Madness. And he's like, pretending it's a conversion tab and they're just drinking wine. And that's literally what I thought it was. So that was like, I started hearing it's like, there's a little, it's like, wait, why is this is the cap of the God of the Wine and Madness? What the heck? But yeah, I highly recommend it. It's good text.